everybody, welcome to another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations. It's your girl Dom. Today is a Whiskey Sour first, as we have one of my really good girlfriends dropping in today to tell us about her new book. And I'm so excited because first of all, I didn't even know my friend was writing a book. So I like surprises. You know, I say I don't, but I really do. So we're gonna just kick back and talk a little bit of our shit. Everybody, welcome to the stage, Miss Gia Garnett. How are you, friend?
I'm good.
Welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having
So, listen, so excited for you to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm processing how well received my book has been in the past couple days. So it's just been nice. I'm honestly relishing the moment. Truly.
Oh my, oh my gosh, like you look amazing.
Thank you.
Where I want to just get into it because I want to talk a little ish. Because as much as we talk about different business ideas and everything, and you're like, oh, you could do this, and I'm like, oh, and then, we go juggling, bouncing stuff off of each other.
Mhm.
When the hell was you gonna tell me that you was writing a book?
So I could have swore I told you in April about it. I've been working on this since 2016.
No.
And it's Joanna Clark's 10 Ways to Self-Love. It started in the carport at my mom's house.
Okay.
To be honest, it was one night I went out and my girlfriend was like, I was really drunk, and she was like, well, you want to sober up, take an Adderall. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, it'll sober you up. So I was like, okay. Then I got home to my mom's house and yeah, I couldn't go to sleep. So I just got my notepad out and just started writing. And then it we have the book today.
Okay. So give us a quick, without giving too much, like what is the premise of your book?
So the premise of the book is a woman named Joanna Clark who has it all, but still felt like she was shrinking in certain spaces, like she wasn't receiving the love that she deserved. So she decided one day to write a list of 10 things that she would do to bring her back to herself. And throughout that, processing that list and completing it, ran into a previous love interest and met a new love interest. And so you get to watch it unfold, or you get to read about it unfolding. Hopefully one day you get to watch it.
I love
But
that.
you get to read about her self-discovery, her romantic friendship relationships, and how she learns to navigate being a partner and choosing who she's going to be with and loving herself at the same time.
I love that. Okay. So this book starts with being soul tired. Was that the moment you realized you were maybe exhausted in your life and you couldn't you were trying to fix this? So I know that's part of the premise of this book as well. Is that kind of parallel to your life?
Yes, 100%. I had I just moved back home with my mom.
Okay.
Um and I think as an adult, anytime you have to like put your tail between your legs and go home to your mom, you're like, what am I doing? But I had success in my career. So it was really frustrating to have to like navigate that, to navigate. I had been single for a few years. Like, what was
Okay.
I doing in my life? How could I pour into myself? And so I had wrote my own list that I accomplished while writing this book. From traveling solo to just taking myself out for lunch, no matter how awkward or dinner it is. And those are some of the things that I had her do as well, because I saw how profound they were for me to experience. So the book healed me as I wrote it.
I love that. Okay. So Gia, you frame self-love as a vow, not a vibe. What were you breaking up with when you made that vow?
When I made that vow, I was breaking up with the expectations that I had set on what I needed to how can I put this, like what I needed to have in relationships. For a long time I thought that like I needed a man to complete me, to make me feel
Mm,
whole. And I got to a point where it was like, no, 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 no. A man is a bonus and I'm
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
And there was a great part of my life where I allowed myself to be treated less than I deserved. And, I had to break up with that part of me and choose my joy and know that I'm enough and that I can walk in a room and hold space and I don't have to shrink based on the caliber guy that I was there with. And as my friend, like who I've dated and some of those people hold space on their own. And so
Mhm.
it was a thing where I realized I was shrinking myself and I'd never again want to shrink myself. If I tell women anything, it's stand where you are and let people come to you. You
Yeah,
don't have to be less
absolutely.
than that.
I want to just repeat that and reiterate what you said. You said that a man is a bonus because I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
And as women, we often get told that, oh, because you don't have a man, or this, it has to be something wrong with you, or if you're going and funneling through men really quickly, like they say that a lot about the great Holly Berry. It's like, oh, there has to be something wrong with her. I'm like, no, she could just be tired of people's bullshit and want to leave and let it go, and she's over it, or just and she wants to move on to the next thing. Women
Yeah.
have the right to do that without all this stigma being tied to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's something, especially now that as as we're getting older, really really leaning onto on ourselves and pouring more into ourselves, and our girlfriends and
Yeah.
everything, like the sister circle.
Yeah.
And it's just been such a, I love you so much, by the way. I just want
I
to
love
say that.
yeah.
And even April, listen, April, I be getting up like, okay. I was like, so I got a problem and this just happened. I was like, we good, because you I love my girlfriend so much because we can just be. Like, I
Mhm.
know if I like I said earlier, being able to call you or text you, like, I got this idea, what you think? And then you immediately just be like, all right, bet. Like, you pour back and like, or what about this? I love that, where we build each other up and it's no competition between us.
No.
And like, cause like, and someone watching this will say, I cannot believe that Gia was saying she was single for XYZ, because they see you like you all done up and pretty, and I'm boasting about you and bragging. It's just like, how about you niggas ain't shit? Excuse my language.
So it's you. I've read Bell Hooks. I don't know if you've tapped into her books yet.
I know Miss Bell Hooks.
So in that,
Lowercase b.
I don't believe that they're not shit. I believe, or can we say that on here? I don't know.
Yeah, you can say that.
I believe that what it is there's a lack of emotional healing that hasn't taken place.
Mm,
And by loving myself, I now can identify an emotionally unaware man like within 2 weeks. I
yeah.
don't need 3 months to get to know you.
Oh, I
I don't
love it.
need to open my legs to get to know this. I can know this. I just ask questions.
Yeah,
A lot of questions that they can't run from, where you have
yeah,
to answer authentically.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That's real. And at asking a lot of those tough questions kind of upfront.
Mhm.
I'm a person when I date, I ask things like, okay, what's your family history?
Mhm.
What bothers, what brings you joy, immense joy, because just not happiness. Like I want to know, like, mental health issues, all that stuff. How's your relationship with your mother?
Oh, I'm so
How's your
sorry.
Girl, okay, that was perfect timing, low key. I'm like, okay, the dog is feeling what I'm saying.
That's Dior. With Pax. Our Frenchies. She was on her little throne and had a problem.
But also understanding it, especially because I've been talking about dating relationships, and we talk about the concept of healing,
Mhm.
not just for us, but wanting it for men. With one of my girlfriends, and I was telling her, I was like, a lot of men need to pay the lady and lay on the couch. I was like, because them coming to you or wanting to date you, and you're doing the work.
Mhm.
I was like, that's like you kind of taking a couple of steps back, because now you have to put their burdens on your shoulder when you are trying to release that. That's not fun.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So again, why did you feel that Joanna needed 10 ways to self love. And what does structure give to something as emotional as healing?
Okay. So essentially, I picked 10 ways because I mean, you couldn't do a list of 5 things to self love. Like, I feel like it needed to be things, it needed to be tasks. Because sometimes, and I, even more lately, I've realized that the commitment we have to ourselves, it dictates what we attract in our lives. And so I felt like the 10 things was like a standard. It was her
Okay.
setting a boundary for herself
Okay.
and sticking to it. So when you're reading the book, you'll see that she mentions the list to the guys she's dating.
Okay.
She separates herself from them, like, I'm going to go do this. One of her 10 things is to get a cabin out in the wilderness and go phone free alone, which a lot of women may be scared to do, but it, to me, those type of moments where you can separate yourself from the world, she chose to do that.
Yeah.
And she kept the men aware of it, but kept them separate. So she set boundaries around her self healing and her self love, her worth. And I really felt like 10 ways was essential, but it goes with the sequel. There's a second book I already wrote to go with this book.
I
And so
love it.
it goes together, and you'll see that the new list grows in the next book.
Okay. So when you mentioned dimming your light earlier,
Mhm.
um, did you know that you were doing that, or did that clarity come kind of later and kind of spun into Joanna's journey?
So the clarity came as I was writing Joanna.
Ah,
So
okay.
Joanna is a piece of us all.
Okay.
I literally think about my girlfriends. I think about what we've been through when I was writing it. I thought about what it felt like for me in dating. Um, and in writing her ideal man. Because I
Okay.
wrote I really wrote my ideal man into this book. And but in writing that, I had the opportunity to write how I wanted him to love her, how I wanted him
Mhm.
to pour into her. And then it made me reflect on, well, gosh, like, have I not been allowing people to be this for me?
Okay.
Because there has to be some accountability. It's not just all the man's fault. It's also us and our attachment styles and all those other things. So in addition to writing this book, I've been going to therapy for over 9 years. And I,
Okay.
I really believe that unearthed those things for me where I could be self-reflective and say, like, okay. And writing it out was cathartic. It was like, okay, from therapy to writing her love interest, I was like, okay, this is what I want. And then in dating while I was writing it, I was able to navigate that and say, okay, I don't want that. I
Yeah.
this is what would work for me. And so I sit before you today knowing exactly what I want, and I know what it'll feel like, and I'm not accepting anything less than that.
Okay. So in loving ourselves, we sometimes lie to ourselves.
Hmm.
And I know that sounds it's like you can't do that. The two can't coexist, but in a way they kind of do.
You can be
So
delusional.
yeah, we could. I think all of us. I think in order for us to live in this crazy world, we all have to be a level, a small level of delusional.
Yes.
What is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves to stay in situations that don't fully choose or serve us?
That we're okay.
Mm,
That we're okay. We're sometimes it's okay not to be okay.
I love that.
It's okay to just be where you are and to be honest with your friends, with
Yeah.
your family, even with the people you're dating. When somebody texts you and says, "How's your day going?" I used to be like, "Oh, it's going good." No, not anymore. I'd be like, "I'm feeling a little tired and I'm a little under the weather, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep it G because why am I like painting like I'm having this perfect day as if you're going to choose to be with me more based on what you're hearing?"
Yeah. I think that sometimes maybe we don't want to feel like a burden to people. Or like that person that is a little bit of a not necessarily like a nagger, but like negative Nancy.
Yeah.
And so we kind of sometimes get in those spaces of, oh, I want this person to always kind of see me at my best.
Positive. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know, where
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, but it again, like we talk about being disillusioned with reality, we have feelings. We go on the day to day. Especially as women, we have highs and lows because you know our cycles want to do whatever that it wants to do to
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And being
so
able to communicate that. But also,
yes,
we want men to be vulnerable with us and to be soft with us. I want my man to be soft with me. I will,
yes,
as well as create a space for me to be soft. But I can't expect
absolutely.
for him to be vulnerable or soft if I'm not willing to let down my guard and say, I had a rough day at work today.
Yeah,
To the point where they get to know you enough to hear it in your voice and say, you know what? I hear it in your voice. Why don't you stop by my house so I could give you a hug? That's what happens when you let the guard down. It's not always negative,
yeah,
you know?
that's real, and
Yeah.
that's a great way to look at that because I know sometimes even if it's a friend, you know, I have certain friends, you know, like you kind of you know give them the gist of something, but I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm always talking shit or like there's something I was and I just don't and I also I'm like what did I do in my life to feel like this and then
Yeah.
then my mind starts wondering now I'm in my head so you know having a partner that's able to kind of get me out of my head and like you said that understands me and that creates the space for me to be soft where we can reciprocate that to each other because it's
Yeah.
hard out here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
And like practicing that with yourself.
yeah.
So giving yourself that same grace. Like when you feel like, so I go inward. And I know there's probably a lot of us that do this. But when I feel like I'm having a rough time, I don't answer my phone.
Mhm.
I don't see people. I'll go to the beach. I'll process the feelings that I'm feeling alone until I'm ready to communicate them in a positive way.
Yeah,
Because you could talk about how you're feeling and those feelings could be painful or depression or grief or whatever you're going through, but after you've processed the feeling, when you go to talk about it, you can talk about it in a way that maybe enlightens other people and allows them to come into your space without feeling like you're weighing them down.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And recently, every day I send voice notes to a girlfriend that has experienced like a lot of like grief and loss. And today she did something kind of similar where it was just like I had to reframe that, like what
Mhm.
I was thinking or what I was saying to make it feel good and realize that this isn't bad that I have this me time that I'm, you know, spending time with myself. I can write.
Yeah.
I can you know, watch a movie. I can read a book. I could do all of this stuff in my house because they're gearing up for a snowstorm. And I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, and that's how you kind of have to do that. And I said, you know, sometimes I was like, our mind will be our biggest hater, will be
Yes.
our worst enemy.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way that I will overthink, and I hate it. I think, and I don't really hate things about myself. Except that I don't have a six pack and I'm working on it, but I have a terrible sweet tooth.
Oh, I have a
But
trick for that.
okay.
So I have a trick. I have a trick to help you get through those things when you're
Okay.
overthinking.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you was talking about to get me in a six pack. I was like, okay, do
I
tell.
mean, I I so I'm trying to get into. I got my lines, but I need to get. I'm trying to get there with you,
Okay,
but
well, we gonna get there together. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
but yeah, but overthinking and just any type of creative block. The way I I mean, are we talking about this kind of stuff right now?
You, I mean, we can. This is hey, this is a safe
Okay.
space.
So the way when I feel creative block or I feel overwhelmed with my life, I masturbate.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Mhm.
Sometimes I cannot. Like I'm not even in the mood. So I'm working on that. But what I have been trying to do when that happens, instead of if since I'm not really horny or trying to like it don't like it will take me forever, even with a vibrator. I'm like, okay,
Oh.
I know. That's how deep it is, girl. I gotta
You got to push through that. Those are blocks. So orgasms for women are creative releases. So when
Yeah.
you masturbate, if you masturbate and you think about something that you want, or you think about something you want to manifest, or something you want to create while you're having your orgasm, when you're done with it, your juices are going to be flowing, flowing, flowing. So whatever is creating that block, you have to move out the way so that it can flow. Because that blockage can stop a lot of things, even money.
Yes.
And you got to let it flow. But I stopped watching porn, and I please myself to myself.
Oh, okay. See now, okay, we're gonna stay there for a second. Because I was gonna say, yes, I've heard of the concept of manifesting
Hmm.
while orgasming.
Hmm.
And one thing I also started to do, because we tend to clench
Hmm.
as that's happening, just breathe through it.
Hmm.
Yeah, like, so that's a different orgasmic experience instead of just like, breathing through.
Hmm.
But I have tried to, I'm a very visual person, and I think I have a bomb body and all of that, but
Hmm.
it's just nothing like some good old vintage porn, okay? I'm like, I mean, the new girls, they be cool, but like some good old like vintage porn, it will get me there.
What about turning off all the lights in your room, lighting some candles, putting on your silk? Look, I have my silk right here. It
Oh,
hangs up. But putting on your silk and like make a romantic evening with you, date you,
okay.
and just all the things that would turn you on. A glass of wine, some whiskey, like whatever you want, have it on the side of your bed, music low, candles going, and just what I like to do is go into my head about like
Mhm.
what would be pleasurable for me. So when
Yeah.
I was writing the sex scenes in this book, I wrote they're not as like kinky as they are like ooh, like
Sensual.
sensual, because
Yeah.
I'm a sensual girly. And
Yeah.
some people may be like other types of, everybody got their own kink, right?
Yeah.
But I when I'm pleasing myself, or when I'm an overthinker too, and you know that. I'm a Virgo, and I would go deep in my head. But when I'm
I'm
having those
aware.
moments, I just set the tone. I set
Yeah.
the room for myself, and then I just have a moment, and I just get in my head, and I'm like rubbing on myself and just being with me. Try it. I trust
I
me.
I am gonna try it, and I will let you know how it goes. Like,
Yeah.
girl, I'm like, girl, uh, how you be doing this? Because, but I'm open. I'm open to trying new things and welcoming new ideas. So, speaking of the sex scenes in the book,
Hmm.
how is that writing? We're not gonna say this like this graphic, but I would, like we said, sensual, where it's not like he put her his,
Yeah.
yeah, and then she said and whatnot. Were you kind of mirroring some of your experiences, or this part of it
100%.
is just fantasy? Okay. Now look, now y'all know that I have a sex cast coming out, and I don't want to dive too much into it because I want to save a lot for that show.
Okay.
But can give us a little something? What is Joanna out here doing with with her men? Because I know,
So
like you said at one point, is it overlapping with
so it kind of overlaps. What I will say, she she's dating one guy, he's African American, and the other guy is Nigerian. She is not intimate with one
Okay.
until she's intimate with one of them, but not the other until the other one is done. Okay.
Okay.
I will say that. And I will say that the way I told the stories of the intimacy was he put his strong, long, penis
Mhm.
inside. I use words that were descriptive and feeling words. So kissing the nape of her neck and moving her hair out of her face and running his lips along her curves of her body, like things like that. And then I also use places like where I've always wanted to be, torn apart, like on a private jet.
Okay. That's
So,
I listen.
so I tell the story. A lot of her intimacies happen on vacations. That I will say. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to like give too much away, but yeah, I use a lot of feeling words to
Okay.
describe the intimacy. So it wasn't like he shafted her long and hard. No, it's some of that, but
Right.
it's not like that. It's more of like she moaned his name with deep, vibrations from the back of her throat, and we know what that means when that
Right.
happens. So it's like
Right.
using things like that
I
instead.
love that.
But
Oh,
I
that's sexy.
struggled with writing those out because you're like, how are these going to be received?
Absolutely. Because I think about certain concepts and certain projects. Okay. If what if my daddy or my mama or somebody, I be thinking about the elders sometimes, and I'm like, y'all just don't get it. People, we're grown. So you still try to do things in a way where it is, you can be sexy, but and sensual, but not too much. Like I ain't deep throat. Okay. Yes.
So it's
Because
that's in the book, and there
I know.
he is an eater. One of them is an eater. I would just say that there men. So if any of the men that have dated me that we had great chemistry, read my book. They will know who they are based on some of those moments,
I
or
love that.
that it's about a moment that I shared with them, because I kind of reflected on like great moments I've had and what felt really good and things like that. So yeah.
I love that. So when we talk about sex, having, intimacy in certain places where you wanted to, or where you would love to have, sex, because we're grown.
Mhm.
So Legos is one of those places. Like, what did Legos unlock about intimacy, tradition, and connection that Joanna couldn't access in New York?
So I
That's
can't
not without giving too much, because we
I
still
can't
we read
even
the
answer that without giving away a lot of the story.
okay.
So what I can
Okay.
tell you is what does the private I don't want to give away some of the best parts of the book.
Okay. Just give us a little,
Um
tea, just a
so
little.
Legos allows Joanna to feel like she can finally have it all.
Okay.
Like, I think as women, sometimes we feel like we have to separate. Like, if I have a husband, I can't have success, or I can have success, but then is my husband going to feel some kind of way ego wise because I've
Mhm.
reached this place? And I feel like the two men that she's dating, I paired her with two equally successful men.
Okay.
One, she's not fully aware of his success and the magnitude of it, and the other one she knows because she went to college with him. So I wanted her to have equals in some way, to where they didn't feel intimidated by what she had. And you'll read about her navigating that. But I felt like Lagos gave her freedom, where she felt like she could finally have the cake and eat it too, and that was okay.
Okay.
And it gave her a little culture.
Okay. We love
Yeah.
that without spilling any other beans about the book.
Yeah. I'm
So do
like
you
trying to like go around it.
no, I listen, I appreciate you for just giving me that. Okay. Like he's like, you can have a little, but not too much. So do you think that travel speeds up healing, or does it make it louder?
So this has always been my take. Travel. So I have her travel for her friends because she lives in New York and her girlfriends, a majority of them live in LA.
Okay.
And so she travels to date her friends. She travels to spend time with her family. Her family has a house in Martha's Vineyard. And so she has all her friends go there. So then there's that moment, because I really wanted to encompass the beautiful part of being Black
Yeah.
to the world. Not only us, but I wanted people to pick up this book and realize that we're not all of the stereotypes, and we're not all of the drama, and we have healthy friendships, and we have successful families. So she's from Baldwin Hills, like my family. She
Mhm.
you know, goes to Martha's Vineyard with her family every summer. And it's not just for the Black Film Festival, it's because they've had a house there for years. She experienced that. So I think traveling allows you to be free in a way that being in your city sometimes doesn't, because you have all the nuances that you worry about.
Yeah,
Do I need to feed my dog? What do I have to do today to maintain my house or washing clothes? And when you're traveling, you don't have to worry about all that.
that's true. That's true.
And so like in dating and traveling, I think it's essential.
Yeah.
I feel like in the first month, personally, that you meet a person, there should be some little vacation planned, even if it's a weekend getaway, because you can learn a lot about a person while on vacation.
That's true. I love that. And
Yeah.
also, like, traveling sometimes just allows that reset. It allows,
Yes.
like you said, it allows you to be free, to
Mhm.
breathe. And
Mhm.
that was one of the, I used to get so overwhelmed out here in LA. And my sister used to live in Phoenix. And I would work and get off of work and I already have the stuff in my car and I would just hit the 10 and would go to Phoenix.
And
And the
that's a long drive.
drive, but you know what? It's really not. It's like 4.5 hours. So it's not too bad. Um, but you know, hitting the 10, and I could just feel like everything just kind of released because it's such a, you know, like you driving through the canyons and not
Mhm.
necessarily mountains, but it's just pretty, you
Mhm.
know, when you get to certain parts and like different rock formations and all that. I love little stuff like that. And so it just, like when we talk about a lot of stuff that's happening and even in relationships and where things become confusing, it you know, that drive can bring you that clarity that you need to, if I'm going to stay in this or am I going to move on to the next.
Yes. And so she has those moments.
Hmm.
Um, and she has moments where I think it's important when you're dating someone, and I learned this in my last serious relationship, you know,
Okay.
the comedian I was with. Um, he became so much of my life that I stopped seeing my friends as much.
Ah.
And when that relationship ended, I said, I never want to do that again. And so I wanted to write a part of that into the book, that like Joanna chooses her friends just as much as she chooses her who becomes her husband, because your friends are going to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
And I don't know why sometimes we can be in a relationship and we can discard our friends because we feel like, oh, we got what we've been wanting. We got this love, but not ever again do I want to do that to my friends, because you guys deserve more than that. You guys deserve me to date you just like I date my man.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing for me in this book. That, you know, our friendships, our intimacy with our friendships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have stopped being friends with people because of that. Because
Mhm.
you know the truth, and I'm not gonna beg for you to be my friend.
Mhm.
I feel like you should be able to acknowledge and see my value and worth.
Yeah.
And when you start kind of even adjusting yourself, an appearance for this man or whatever, and like you said, the isolation part, I'm like, oh no, no, no. I'm like, let me just dead this now because this is going to be a problem down the road with something else, and I want to, I'm going to prevent this problem from happening. It's
Yeah.
been trial. I'm going to move it along.
Yeah. And
So,
I feel
oh,
like
go
if I
ahead.
ever seen a friend do that, what I did, what I can say is all of my friends gave me grace. Were they
Hmm.
annoyed? Did they vocalize their annoyances after we broke up? Yes. Did they show me a mirror? Yes.
Hmm.
Was I able to say, you know, this is true? And if I ever see a friend do that, then I want to give them the same grace that I was given, but also be the mirror and say, you know, you just always want to have your life. Like it's
Yeah.
important to have your life. When
No,
your
I,
life becomes intertwined to a degree with another person, um, anything can happen. Life is short. You can stay together, somebody can pass away, like anything can happen.
yes.
And you just want to be able to maintain your own identity in all of that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I want the listeners to know, like, oh, you just be out here cutting people off. No, there
No,
were
you don't.
signs. There were signs. And so that's why I said, like, I'm going to move it along because I know that if it's not this, it's going to be something else. And then we'll be back here. And then it'll be, and that's what I'm not interested in at
Yeah.
our big age. It's one thing, like you said, I've been that girlfriend that says, hey, like, what's up? But
Yeah.
now I'm like, hmm,
It's
are
been
the
a pattern.
samples,
If it's
yeah,
a
you know, and,
pattern,
and you can recognize the signs, so like the red
yes.
flags and stuff. So you're just kind
Hmm.
of like, I don't know, like should you know? So
Yeah.
sometimes I just let the chips fall where they may, and not get my feelings hurt either. So,
Yeah. And that's
um, question for you:
mhm.
do you believe that love can wait, or does it always test your timing?
Hmm. Do I believe love can wait, or does it always test my timing? Hmm.
Yes.
I think it tests your timing because it
Mm,
comes when it wants to. It doesn't come when you want it to. So it's not even a matter of waiting. It's a matter of how, to me, I think that God is funny. And it's like, you got to be so busy and worried about you that then I'm allow what you've been waiting for to just come in and test you,
yeah.
because we could be waiting for it, but I think it tests our timing, really. I really do. Because it comes out of nowhere.
Okay, because I was gonna say that's interesting you bring God into it and you was like, oh, I think it tests our time. I said, so you saying love is God. And that's fair to say. I
Yeah.
think sometimes yes and no. I this is something I kind of grapple with
Hmm.
often. And you know, talking to having girlfriends, we're all, that are dating and whatnot. And I am kind of the person that is kind of on your side of it's I because you kind of sometimes feel like it's always something, or this person showed up and it's like, why couldn't have been, or whatever. But then the other part of me has seen things for, people where it's just been, wow, like this person you, s- you bumped into them at the grocery store and then you guys have been
Hit it
inseparable
up.
ever since. So
Yeah.
I kind of go back and forth about that.
I experienced a great love recently that I knew wasn't my forever love, but it stood the test of time because it happened out of nowhere.
Okay.
I was in his establishment and he was there, and I was in my own bubble minding my own business, because as women we should do that. We shouldn't be
Yeah.
trying to meet people while we're out. We should let them gravitate to us, and I was just doing me, and he gravitated to me and asked for my number, and we hit it off, and there was a love that took place there that changed me forever.
Oh, I love that.
He allowed me to be soft. So I met him while I was ending the book, and I wanted to make sure that I included the softness that he created in me, because he unlocked a softness that no one has ever given me. And I wanted to articulate that in my story. Um, but yeah, I met him spur of the moment. Was not thinking I would ever meet him, that it would be what it was going to be. I think sometimes we just need to get out of our heads and get into our hearts and just
Yeah.
be in us. That then we attract that love,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just happens.
I love that because I think for real, I know for real, I'm a lover girl at heart. And I
Mhm. You are.
always,
You are.
yes, I'm not a thug all the time,
No.
guys. But I'm a true, like, pure lover girl at heart, and I be trying to lean into that damsel in distress role. That's not me. I try, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't. I really try, but I can't. That's not me.
So
But
friend.
but when we think about like dating, love, relationships, and I really think that I always pride myself in being this experience. And one thing I've learned about every interaction that I have with whether it be just girlfriends or romantic relationships, in telling them that you want to leave people better than how you met them and found them.
Yes.
And in doing that requires you requires a lot of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about red flags and being
Mm-hmm.
able, and I am very straightforward. And I will
Mm-hmm.
call you out about some shit. And I'm like, so why do you do that? Or why did you think, why would you say that like that? Or, well, or, that was really nice. Even the green flags.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and, in doing that with people, I think sometimes that, intimidates people, because I would say innocent, like leaving, wanting, being able to be like to have that discernment and wanting to leave that person better than how you found them. Sometimes that can be a little intimidating to people because you're being so pure, because people are so used to people, I guess, kind of putting on a front.
And
I'm crazy like
hostility.
yeah, and,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody, like I am literally the person that y'all are listening. I'm that person in real life when I meet anybody. So you don't have to wait for the shoe to drop or anything. I'm just genuinely a bomb person. I mean, I really believe that about myself, and I think
You.
you believe that about me because we wouldn't be
Yeah.
friends, right?
Exactly.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes when you start to really tap into that,
Mm-hmm.
people are now you seeing, because and you that person might have thought, and I don't know why you would have thought I had blinders on, because but I'm seeing, and then it makes them kind of flee, which is
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, yeah, because what's meant for you will stay.
Yeah, I'm
Um.
like, we shared that
Yeah.
moment in time,
Yeah.
but even in this moment that we shared, I hope you got something, like you learned something here that makes you move different in your next chapter of your life with whomever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that when we move in love and we do things in love,
Yeah.
um, we're able to contribute to people in the way that you're saying, and get like, my love language is giving. And it's not just gifts, but it's just giving of me, of a part of my I am presence with others, and hoping that it impacts them whatever way it can. And I feel like when you're doing that in a healthy way with a good person,
Yeah.
the person has to be good on the receiving end, because the ones that aren't healed or maybe have things to go through, they can't receive that. And I experienced that recently. They can't receive it. And that
Mhm.
doesn't make them like horrible. It just says that maybe they need to date someone who is at their emotional development level.
Mm. Say that one more time.
They need to date someone that's at their emotional development level.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and that's something that I had to accept, because we can
Mhm.
meet somebody and be like, "Oh, he's fine," like
Yeah.
tall, dark, ooh. And then as he talks, you're like, "Oh man, you didn't take accountability in that relationship." You talk about your mama like she your lady. Okay. Like all those little things, and then he's like, okay, well then this is not gonna work for me. But
Yeah.
I still love you enough to show up and at least give you the courtesy and say, this is not gonna work for me. It doesn't mean you're horrible. It just means this isn't for me. And we can be friends
Yep.
or not.
Yeah, and I was gonna say or not. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
That is really real.
Yeah.
I want to do
Mhm.
a couple like of rapid fire questions before we get up out of here.
Okay.
So, of course, we talk about, like Joanna's experiences and all of that. So, this is kind of geared more toward fun things like that.
Okay.
So this is a date question. So, would you prefer to go roller skating or moon dancing?
Moon dancing.
I love that.
Mhm.
Peace or passion?
Passion.
Soft love or consuming love?
Soft.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? Did
I
you
said
say
soft.
okay? It's like you said false. I
No,
was like, okay,
I
what's
said soft.
happening?
off
Okay.
very fast. I don't want to be consumed by anybody.
Okay, so red flags, you now run immediately from, or you let it coast.
No, I don't let it coast. Can I?
So
There
you
might
let
be
it.
in between.
Oh, okay.
So I don't let it coast, but I identify them, I mental check them, and then the moment that they present that red flag to me, like towards me, I remove myself.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What's one self-love habit you refuse to negotiate on?
My quality time with myself.
Mm. The hardest thing about loving yourself out loud.
Ooh. For me, it was acclimating to my body.
Mm.
As a curvy woman in this world, that was the hard part for me.
See, you might have been you and being from California, I can see how that could affect you.
Mhm.
And because you would be fine in the Midwest and the South, and even on the East Coast. Because I'd be like,
Yeah,
gee, about this asshole. I wish because it
yeah.
is bomb. And see, God said, I gotta make you get in the gym for the ass because I gave you the titties. So you can't have it all. You gotta work for one. And I'm like, dang, I couldn't have a little bit of extra sprinkle, but okay. Last question about the book.
Okay.
Was there anything that you almost didn't include because you felt like it was too honest?
No,
Okay.
no. I
I
included it all. She's loosely based on me. And when you read it, I think that you'll see, you like my girlfriend from high school said, I heard your voice while I read this book because it has your essence, like the words you use, the things you say. So no, I just let it all out. There's some ex-boyfriends that make an appearance. And my friends will know who is who by the descriptions.
also, but what we do know is that you gravitate toward a certain group of men
Yes.
from a certain ethnic background.
I mean, I'll admit, I like my Nigerian men.
Yes, you can't stay away.
I mean, you want to know why? We have like a few minutes,
Yeah,
and I'll tell
I
you
got
why.
time. You got time to tell me why?
It's not a fetish. For me, it is, I appreciate the way they are raised
Okay.
and taught to love women, uh, how they show up and are present, not just Nigerian men, but I feel like African men as a whole have gotten like a bad rap. And I'm not saying all of them are great, but I haven't met a bad man from the continent that is my friend. I have very dear friends that are, but they just show up differently, from showing up for dates with like thoughtful gestures. And you don't have to say, where are we going on this date? It's planned. It's show up dressed like this. And I'm okay if a guy is from anywhere else and does that. But I've just lately met very intentional men who happen to be from the continent.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, guys, Joanna Clark, 10 Ways to Self Love is
Yeah.
out now. You can get your copy on Amazon. And I will also link it in the show notes so you guys can go and support my girlfriend. Gia, I am so happy that you took a moment to
Thank
spend your,
you.
your evening, your Friday evening with me. It is gonna be Friday when it airs, but
Yeah.
and tell the people where they can connect with you on social media.
Marinated Goddess on Instagram, on TikTok. Those are the places to find me on, and on Threads as well.
Oh yes, yes. The
Mhm.
great the threads.
Yes,
I
right.
mean, I forget about threads. I'll be like, oh yeah, that does exist.
I
So
love it there.
I'm trying to get into it. I'm like, I'm trying to move away from Twitter, but Twitter just has my heart so much, and Twitter should not have it at all. But oh, it's just so many great things over there that's happening. So thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations. I will see you back here next week.
Bye.